I just love that. So I missed that. And then when this guy called me, he's like, hey, so we're doing this song for the Underworld movie. It's a vampire movie. Would you want to write some lyrics? And I'm like, oh yeah, my people will be at that movie. So of course I said yes, and I was like, can I see the movie? They're like, no, can't let you see the movie, it's not out yet. And I was like, well, what am I going to write about? Because I still had this thing where I have to write from my heart and sing from my heart. And so I'm like, well, I don't figure out how to relate to vampires and stuff. And so I'm looking up online all of the synopsis that I could find from these critics that had seen Privileged People before it came out. And I'm going to read the movie for you because I want to tell you about my song. So I found the synopsis, and there's this vampire and this werewolf, and they have a baby. And then the vampire mom gets frozen in ice, and the werewolf dad dies, and the baby is put into this facility, this psychiatric facility, because something's weird with her. You know, she's weird. Who knows what's wrong with her? But then the mom ends up waking up 16 years later in the ice and realizing, I have this baby, I need to go tell her who she is because she is the most powerful creature on the planet. And she doesn't know who she is. She's like an amazing creature. And so she decides to go find her daughter, and she busts through the ice, and she goes to find her, and all these demonic werewolf creatures come running after her, and she has to fight them off, and she finally gets there. She breaks her daughter out of this psychiatric facility, and the girl is sitting in the back, 16-year-old girl, trembling, like, oh, you know, what's going on? And all of a sudden her medicine's wearing off, and she's starting to feel weird, and then this werewolf creature jumps on the vehicle and pulls the top of the car off, and all of a sudden the girl, the 16-year-old girl, turns into her true self, and she's this crazy creature with powerful hands, and she just rips the werewolf in half with her bare hands. Just like, and she's like, what just happened? And her mom's like, we gotta explain some things to you. And I was like, oh, this reminds me of Jesus. When I was 16, I was a hateful atheist. I hated Christians especially, and I never heard anything except, like, I never saw people live actually what they said. And so I never heard the story of Christianity the way I understand it now. So I think it's a very beautiful story, and it kind of reminds me of this vampire movie where, you know, God makes humans to be His children. We're meant to be His children. We're meant to be these powerful, amazing God children, God people. And we're meant to be full of, like, miraculousness and glory. And also, as these children of God, we have a freedom to choose life or to choose death. And so he tells us in the beginning, choose life so you'll live. And then we end up choosing death over and over and over. Throughout the generations, we pass it on to our children, and little by little we die a little more, and little by little we become less of what we're created to be, and it breaks God's heart, and He sends people to tell us, and we just keep choosing death, and then finally He's like, you know what? I'm just going to become a man. So they can know what it means to be a child of God, to be a God man. So Jesus comes to the earth, and He's powerful, an amazing, miraculous man who stands up to injustice against the religious people. He stands up to society. He heals people. He does all these miraculous things. He's powerful. He controls the weather, like all this stuff. He's a God man. He's like, this is what I made you for, to do glorious things and be like this, right? And He's like, oh yeah, and you chose death, so I'm just going to take care of that for you. And he says, okay, yeah, they choose death, they deserve to die, so I'm going to die in their place. And so his creation, He's sitting there naked, bleeding on a cross while His creation murders Him. And the devil's sitting there talking in His ear saying, they're not going to choose you. They're going to use their freedom. They're not going to choose you. They're going to keep spitting on you and whatever. And He's like, I don't care. I'm not going to repent from this. I'm going to give them this gift of being able to overcome death because I'm going to overcome it for them if they just trust me. I'm going to give it to them even if they don't choose me. I'm going to give it to them anyway. He's like, I'm not going to repent from this gift. And that's what the chorus says. And so then He dies, and He didn't choose death, so He overcomes death. And then He raises from the dead. And then he goes and sits by God's right hand, and he sends us his ghost to live inside of us so we can overcome all the death that we can't stop choosing, and we can start to choose life now. And we can have a new beginning. And that reminded me of this vampire movie. So it's called Heavy Prey. It has a double meaning.